Hey everybody, it's Mike Mitchell with Progressive Church Media, and in this tutorial we're continuing to look at Livestream Studio and how you can use it to stream your worship service. So hopefully if you watched the previous tutorial, you have a sense now of how you can kind of push and pull things and use the preview and the program features. One of the things I want to make sure that I mention is, I've mentioned a few times that we have created all of these sample things for you to get started. Of course, you don't have to use these, but we wanted to give you something to get started. So here's the way you're going to do that. If you come up here where your project setting is, what you would do is you would click on import, and you will import the project bundle that we have given you, and that will populate all of this stuff for you, and then you can give it whatever name you want. So that's the way you're going to pull all of these things in, and it should put everything in the right place automatically for you. One of the things I want to do in this tutorial is show you how easy it is to customize these or to create your own. And I'm talking about these lower thirds. So let me show you how I made these. And then, again, you can really kind of take this and run with it. So I'm going to leave all of these the way that they are. And let's come over here to Graphics 2, because this is more what it looks like when you're just kind of starting out. The Livestream Studio actually has a whole library of these lower thirds and things. So you can just scroll down through here, and you may find one that you like, and if you do, all you have to do is click on it and add it, and it will pull it in for you, and that's wonderful. So you can just scroll through the library here and find one that you like. If you're like me and you want to kind of do something a little more customized, that's what this is for. And you'll see there are several options here. One of the things that you can do, and we'll show this in another tutorial, is you can actually put like a little countdown timer on the screen. So maybe before your live stream is actually starting, you can have on your screen a little countdown so that people know that it's almost time for your service to start. So that's what you would use that timer for. There is an option here under social where you can, if you're streaming to Facebook, for example, and people are commenting live, there are, in fact, here's a preset for it right here, where it'll actually put people's comments up here on the screen. So that's kind of a cool thing you may want to play around with a little bit, and it kind of makes things very interactive. And it really kind of helps give that feeling of something being live. But let me show you how easy it is to create one of these totally from scratch, so that you don't feel like you have to depend on the options that are here. So you come again down here to custom graphic, and we're going to click on a new layer, the very last one. And right now it's totally blank. What we're going to do is come in here and click on the little paintbrush icon, and that's going to bring up this designer area. And here's where you have lots and lots of options. Let's say, for example, you are doing a PowerPoint as well as your cameras and all of that, and so one of your inputs, I don't have that set up on mine right now, but let's say one of your inputs is actually like PowerPoint slides. What you can do is you can come down here and you can select your other video sources. So for example, I'll select right here the little camera icon, and I can choose which which media source I want. Now I only have a couple of them here. Let's put that one on there. And we can make that bigger, right? So let's pretend that's my slide. And now let's turn off that preview. Let's put that one on. Let's activate it. Okay, so I've got it activated, I've got it in preview. Let's push it over. And so now, I'd have to scoot over a little bit, but so if you're the type of person that maybe wants to use PowerPoint slides, then you can do like, I'm not pointing the right way, picture in picture, so that you can have both the speaker and the slides on the screen. And then the cool thing about this kind of setup is then when you want to, you could toggle back. So I could come over here and say, okay, now what I'd like to do is actually cut away for a moment to the full thing. Oops, I gotta turn that off. And then whenever I'm ready, I could cut back to my speaker. So there are lots of ways. I didn't do that very elegantly, but I think you get the idea. There are lots of cool ways that you can use that capability. So let me pause that. So that's by adding in kind of this picture and picture. I'm gonna delete that. The way I did the lower thirds is I came over to this one to add an animation. And I just had out here on my desktop that lower third. It's a PNG animated sequence, so I just plopped that in. And then what you can do at that point is you can add in text. And then we'll just drag it down there. If I click right there, I can change the formatting, I can change the font, I can change the color, but you kind of get the idea of how that works. And now if I turn that on, that's going to show up. And again, I could push it over there and I could take it off. Now, what I had done before was I had said, okay, I want to have some of these set up, where we've got some prepared text ready to go. So the way you do that is you just add these columns. So you add a text column. So I'll just call this text 1. And let's add another column. And we'll call this text 2. And just to make this really clever, let's actually put that in there for our first row. And here's the way you tell the software to use whatever text you've got here in the slide. I'm going to go back onto my little paintbrush. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And in my designer here, I come over here, and whatever columns you've put in are going to show up over here. So I can say, okay, there's text 1. Let me grab it, if I can actually use my mouse correctly. So I can drag it in. I can give myself lots of room to type. Again, I can click here to, change and take away the shadow and all that kind of thing. And then I can put in text 2. So, and again, I can format it and get it all the way that I want. And we'll bring that down if I can hold it. There we go. And again, boom. And so it's going to then automatically pull in whatever you've got there. Now, the other option that I think you saw, maybe if you looked kind of closely there, is it doesn't just have to be text. And that's what I did down here under these promos is I've got a column where I actually brought in these social media icons. The way I did that is I added a row, I'm sorry, not added a row, I added a column, and I wanted an image type. And so that's how you do that same idea. So that's the way that you can do those. Now, this lower third does not have to be animated. If you just want an image, then you can choose that option. So you just kind of play around with it and get it the way that you want it. Okay? So hopefully you kind of get the hang of that. And again, you can just kind of play around and have some fun with that. Now, I mentioned before in one of the other videos that you also have the ability to bring in guests. And so the way you do that is you give people a link. This would be something you would email or get to them. And so I would copy this link and then email it or text it to them. They would click on that link and it would give them the ability to come in as a guest. If they are using a webcam, they're going to show up then as one of these sources on the screen here. The reason why I'm pointing that out is that if I had done that, if I had invited a guest in and they then became one of my media sources here, then under this video source, they would also show up here. And so I could, you could actually have in kind of a picture-in-picture, you could have your guest here on the screen. So lots of ways once you get the hang of this to be really, really creative. The final thing I want to talk about in this video is the difference between going live and recording. And this is something I think that your church is going to want to think about. If I would click on this button right here for go live, then whatever streaming services I've set up here, we're going to start streaming to those. And you may or may not want to do that depending on the situation. Where we've kind of come down for our church is in many cases it's better, and I think it kind of takes some of the pressure off a little bit, if we, instead of going live, we just record everything and get it all ready. And then whenever we are ready, we can publish it to Facebook or YouTube and people can watch, and it will still, have all of the interaction and everything that I've shown you here, but it just kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off so that if we make a mistake, we can go back and re-record it. You can do both. You can go live and record. It's really up to you, but I just want to make sure you understand you have that option. And in other tutorials, we'll talk about how that works on the Vimeo side of things. But I just wanted to make that really clear that you can go live or you can record, and that's something you may want to talk about, especially in the current situation, I think, with people spread out and you're not able to actually be together. Recording, previewing it, making sure everything's good before you push it out there, that might be the way for you to go. Your choice.